Hello everybody, my name is D Sinks and today I'm putting on my AVGL hat. Not really a hat, I've got a jersey, good enough for this little gauntlet rundown. The regular season has concluded for the AVGL Collegiate Smite League, so we're going to be launching into our gauntlet stages. With the top 4 teams from each and every division have been found out, and now they're going to be competing against each other in a classic gauntlet rundown. 4th seed takes on 3rd seed in the first matchup. Then the winner of that takes on the 2nd seed in the next matchup. Then the winner of that takes on the 1st overall seed. So now that I've broken down the gauntlet in terms of the format, let's break it down in terms of the division, starting with the first division listed on our website, Mayan. It's going to be Northern Arizona University Blue versus the University of Kansas. I'll be honest, I'm just excited to see some Arizona blood being repped in this matchup in particular. It's exciting. We don't get a whole lot of stuff to be excited about. We're just too busy losing, and well, NAU's too busy being beaten up by the U of A and ASU in like their first 3 games because that's just how we schedule. That's real sports though. You're here for esports, where I think in this matchup, honestly looking at it, both of these teams are, as I'm just glancing over at my notes there, both of these teams are actually pretty evenly matched up. And if I'm being entirely honest, last time they faced off against each other, it was actually a 2-0 in favor of the University of Kansas. But I do think that the skill difference, not the biggest in the world. I'm actually going to tip my hat, though, with a little bit of home bias, to NAU Blue. I think the boys of AZ can win 1 game in this gauntlet. Now, going into their next matchup is much more difficult. It's NAU Blue taking on University of California, Santa Cruz. The scrim god himself, Omarcio64, is on University of California, Santa Cruz. And in all honesty, all memes aside, Omarcio and his team look so much better this year. The squad is actually very, very legit. They had a bit of a scare for that 2nd seed because they didn't follow the rules all the way and got reported and had to forfeit a match because they didn't follow the rules all the way. Yeah, that's really whatever. In all honesty, at the end of the day, Omarcio and his team are incredibly strong. They're going to play with the 5 players, or 5 players listed on their roster, and they're going to raffle stomp this game. In all honesty, I've got full faith in the man, the myth, the legend, Omarcio64. But now they're taking on Consummate River College in our final matchup for this particular division here. And this is Bruh's team. This is one of those teams that have formed that is a power squad, in all honesty. These 5 players are all very, very good players, and this could be potentially a challenger circuit team if they really wanted to attempt for that. Just in terms of the lineup alone, I'm not saying in terms of synergy, skill levels, stuff like that. Don't come at me for that one, but just looking at the players' names alone, we've got some returners from previous AVGL years. Notably, Lato is the one that I believe that has competed in multiple years. But beyond that, Snack Bars, Ninons, Bruh, and CMO3 Smo. I don't actually know how to say his name, but they're really good. And I want to pick UC Santa Cruz so badly. But I got to give it to Consummate River College at the end of the day. I think that this 1 seed will definitely be able to defend their honor here and be able to take this first matchup in the Mayan division. Now that we're done with Mayan, we're going to move on to the boys in the newest Pantheon, Celtic division. Very first matchup. This was the 4th seed that was so highly contested over. It is Brandon University taking on the Ohio State University. And Brandon, I mean, both of these teams were kind of on the chopping block, sort of, kind of really. Brandon was as well. They got a little bit of help because Iowa decided to forfeit their last 2 games. So Brandon, they're making into the gauntlet, and they're going up against the Ohio State University. This is a team that is returning from last year, except they don't have Sheka, which is kind of a big deal because Sheka's kind of really good. But the players on Ohio State are honestly very, very good in their own rights. I actually have full faith in this team to be able to take this first round matchup going up against Brandon. Then they're going to run into technically a bit more of a difficult matchup going up against Lawrence Tech. Lawrence Tech has a lot of very strong players on it that have competed well within this season, notably looking at their captain there, Airy, I believe is how you say that name. I actually think that Lawrence is going to put up a big fight against OSU, but That being said, I still have faith in the returning AVGL boys here. The Ohio State University should be able to win this matchup and make it into the finals, where they will take on Indiana University Bloomington. A chance at some revenge. This is Sheikah's new squad, but I really don't think that they can do it, if I'm being entirely honest here. They've got Sabbath, they've got Sheikah, they've got Outlaw, they've got Sops. Those are all 4 players that I have commentated in Challenger Circuit. Actually, Sabbath I haven't, but 3 of those players I have. Nor have I commentated Outlaw. Just kidding. Sops and Sheikah I've commentated. I don't know why I thought. I think I've commented. This is me being old and not remembering anything ever. But that being said, these are all players that could actually potentially find their way into Challenger Circuit here. This is a team that could find its way into Challenger Circuit. Sheikah, this isn't the only gauntlet that he's playing off in. But unlike in the other gauntlet, I'm picking Sheikah to win. Indiana University Bloomington. Sorry, Sheikah, I love you. You're really fun to watch. But Indiana University Bloomington, I think they're going to take this Celtic division. I think that the Ohio State University is going to put up a fight, kind of, sort of, not really. I really don't think that Ohio State's got the legs to go up against a team of this caliber. But with that, that concludes Celtic division. So now we move on to the boys in Norse. First round matchup, Carnegie Mellon University taking on the University of Miami. Miami, they really did not want to compete in this first round matchup, honestly, but unfortunately a bit of bad luck. They lose out in their final week with a whole bunch of subs, and I believe 2 or 3 of their main roster was not competing there. Now they're going to be finding themselves going up against Carnegie Mellon University, and I think that the Mellons are going to get squashed here. University of Miami looks like a very, very competitive team in the AVGL. They gave the College of New Jersey a hell of a fight in their first few games, or in those 2 games that they played. Unfortunately, again, not playing with their main roster. One of their bigger issues was in that solo lane, where I do believe that was one of their subs. Miami, I'm going to tip my hat towards them, pick them to move on, where they will have a rematch against the College of New Jersey. This is the team that put them in that 4th place matchup, 4th-3rd matchup, and I think that Miami is going to be coming out swinging. College of New Jersey honestly looked pretty good today. I had a lot of faith in a lot of their players, notably looking over at Mr. Fahrenheit in that ADC position, performing exceptionally well as Mr. Yompers in the mid lane. Yompers looked very strong and able to land a lot of abilities, but again, they couldn't close it out cleanly against Miami, against subs. So despite that, despite how good New Jersey looked, I'm actually going to be picking Miami to move on to the next round, where they will be taking on CUNY, Staten Island. Yeah, we're not going to go over the full name because that's way too long to fit on my screen. But what is not too long to fit into this video is the fact that this is your runner-up squad. Every single member, except for Shurkan, on this team came in 2nd. They've got a bit of a grudge. They've got a bit of score to settle, notably Collateral and Fatal, 2nd in the 2nd year, 3rd in the 3rd year. Now looking over, you've got Mort Brooklyn and Sir Bomberman, 2nd in last year, and the year before that, I felt as though they should have been competing for that championship matchup there, but they weren't. So unfortunate for them. But honestly, this team of runner-ups, I think, is one of the better. I mean, again, this is a team that you could see trying to make their bid into Challenger Circuit. They're a very, very good squad, and I fully have faith in them to go up against Miami and take them down. The crown will be worn by them for at least this division, and they will be pursuing much, much more. Now we're moving on to our final division, Egypt, where there was, again, a bit of fun within Egypt just in terms of seeding. Georgia Tech Yellow only able to secure their spot in that final week here, but they get it, and they're going to have a chance at a grudge match. They were taking on Florida Poly, where they actually lost in their very first week, and that's kind of a big deal for them because that actually bumped them out of JMax Power Rankings video, and they were not particularly pleased. But you lose, you lose. Florida Poly taking them on again. But honestly, this team, captained by CJM, again, another team with a fair amount of returning players, they're good. I know they're good. I don't know what happened to them where they lost in that first week matchup. They didn't drop any other sets for the rest of the time, I believe, except for one where they either had to forfeit or it was a they didn't have the, oh no, sorry, I'm being dumb. They lost 2-0 to Tarrant County. Understandable. We'll talk more about that later. But Georgia Tech Yellow, they're going to beat Florida Poly here. I fully believe in them to take that revenge. It's not going to be clean, though. I don't know how clean it's going to be, but I do still think that they will be able to win it out when they will move on to take University of Alabama Huntsville, the team that was actually had potential at that #1 slot, thanks to the fact that Tarrant County dropped a game. And this team also has lost to Georgia Tech Yellow in the past, which is really what kept G-Tech in the running for the gauntlet. University of Alabama, they actually showed a lot of signs of life playing up against the boys of Tarrant this past week. They showed a lot of potential, which should make me tip my hat towards them. But in all honesty, I think that Georgia Tech Yellow is going to come out swinging and just in full aggression, ready to go back into this matchup. They've beaten them before, and I think that this is going to go in their favor again. Not going to be clean, though. 2-1. I am going to go on record saying that Alabama will be able to take a game. It's going to be at least one long slugging match between the two of them. But Georgia Tech, they're going to be a 4th seed going all the way into the final stage of the gauntlet, which is very, very impressive. Tragically for them, they're taking on Tarrant County, and Tarrant County is your team of returning championships. All but one player on this squad has won the AVGL before. The one player that hasn't won a game or hasn't won in the AVGL is Glavis. Glavis. Sorry, 2 of them have not. Glavis and Ratcheteer. Cardiac, their coach, has he won, but he's not main roster, so who cares? Neither of those players won. Wytry, Puckham, Osoth, Cardiac, they've all got a championship under their belts. Osoth, he's actually got 3. I'd say he's doing pretty well in the AVGL for himself. No day to remember for this team anymore. Puckham instead going into the ADC position. That is your make or break for this team because Puckham's not playing the solo lane. That is the only point that we will be making in favor of going against Tarrant County. But we're not making it this round. Georgia Tech Yellow, it was a cool run. Tarrant County are going to handily take that one in a clean 2-0, where they will take the division crown. So just to review over my winners, Tarrant County College, the team of returning championship, will take Egyptian. Norse will be ruled by Cooney Staten Island. Meanwhile, Indiana University Bloomington will be able to stomp it out in the Celtic division, while Consumnes River College is going to be taking the first overall spot for Mayan, which means that will conclude my gauntlet rundown video. After this, the teams will play each other, I believe, off air. I don't think that we're streaming this, in a brief round robin just to determine seeding. And normally I would go over seeding, but in all honesty, all these teams are very good. All these teams can beat each other. All of these teams are probably not going to care that much about the seeding going into the matchups there, because most of them think that they're better than everybody else. So, hey, why not just play anybody else? And it's going to depend if they want to mix it up on rosters, if they want to mix it up on roles, who can show up to what. Too many variables coming into the fact that of who can take first overall, but I don't think that there's any variables that could really drastically swing any of these teams out of that first overall position. So tune in this weekend where our gauntlet will be taking place Saturday, and go ahead and find out, am I right? Am I wrong? Did I help you learn a little bit more? Probably no to at least the right and learn a little bit more thing, but I have been D-Sinks, and I'll see all of you the next time. Bye!